Many of you know her as Carrie Bradshaw from HBO's Sex and the City, but Sarah Jessica Parker wears many hats. She's a producer, fashion designer, and mother of 3 children with husband Matthew Broderick. I recently sat down with the Emmy-winning actress who opened up about the day she nearly lost her son. First of all, I want to say that I applaud you because I love the fact when I host the doctors, when someone's passionate about something, and I think our viewers really take away from that. So I want to ask you, how did you get involved in the Anaphylaxis for Real campaign?
Well, I have a 13-year-old, almost 14-year-old son, James Wilkie, who has a severe life-threatening allergy. He was diagnosed many, many years ago with a severe peanut allergy. And this is something that has become literally minute by minute and second by second a part of our lives. We don't think of it that way because we feel a lot of comfort in the plan that we have and what works for our son. But it is something that is enormously serious. And you have, there's a window of opportunity. What are you gonna do when you're somebody who has a severe and life-threatening allergy?
And you used some terms that I think people need to hear. You said very serious, enormously serious, because a lot of people think, it's a peanut allergy. What's the big deal? What can happen? And I always try to enlighten folks. People can die very quickly from it. I'm just curious, when your son was initially diagnosed, it can be a very scary experience. What happens that first time?
Well, for better or worse, I wasn't home. And I say that because we happen to have a babysitter who is still with us, who had the presence of mind to make all the right and calm decisions for our son. She called me and said that she had given James Wilkie some leftover cold sesame noodles, which I don't know if you know, they're Chinese food and they have a very high peanut concentrate. It's like a very concentrated peanut sauce. She didn't assume that that was what he was reacting to, but she didn't also know that I had yet to introduce him to peanuts. She could tell that his breathing was very labored, his mouth was swollen in a way that was scary. And she did something very interesting. She took her 2 fingers like a tongue depressor and she put it on my son's tongue and opened up his mouth and looked, and she could see his throat just closing. And she tucked him under her arm and ran to our pediatrician with him under her arm like a football. They could tell right away, given the information, that it was, that he was having an anaphylactic reaction, and treated it. And we took him the next day, my husband and I, to a pediatric allergist, and they diagnosed him with this severe peanut allergy and a less severe hazelnut allergy. But the peanut allergy really was the headline.
What plan have you guys put in place so that you can go about your lives and literally...
Relative comfort.
Yeah, without constantly living in fear?
Our plan is that he has information. We're not casual about him leaving the house with everything he needs. I don't mind being annoying. I don't mind calling a family and saying, when they're kind enough to invite our son over, I just want to share with you, he has a severe peanut allergy. If there's any way you could be mindful of that. And so James Wilkie has 2 epinephrine auto-injectors, and he always has them on his person. Always, always, always.
So I'm curious then, what advice would you give to parents out there who either don't know a lot about this, or maybe they've just had a child diagnosed?
The diagnosis should be scary because it's real and it's severe and it's life-threatening, but it should not dictate your life. It shouldn't limit you. That if you have an action plan, that you feel confidence in, if you feel ready, then nothing has to radically change. And I would also say, I would direct people to this website, anaphylaxis101.com. There's lots of information there. And one other thing, this Anaphylaxis for Real, which is a really nice initiative, is this opportunity for lots of people to share their stories and maybe share advice, but sharing advice is very particular because every family is different, every child is different, every grown-up is different, but it's good to hear stories about how you can have a big, full life and have a diagnosis like this. And I will say there are diagnoses that are far worse, that don't give you an opportunity to be ready.
The irony of it is nuts may be the healthiest go-to snack.
I know.
that there is out there. And I think that the lesson here is that obviously if you have a particular nut allergy, you have to avoid it at all costs. Is there one thing in this whole process, or is there one particular message that is more important than any other?
Yeah, I would say take it seriously, be ready, and if you're ready, you don't have to be scared. That's how I feel as a parent of a child who's been diagnosed with a severe life-threatening allergy. I feel ready, and I'm not as terrified anymore.
You know who you sound like?
Uh-oh, who?
An ER doctor.
Oh, really?
Be ready, be prepared.
God, nobody's ever said that to me, ever. That's kind of one of the greatest things anyone's ever said to me.